right. Believe that I'm live. Having some technical difficulty with getting Streamlabs OBS set up. Apparently I needed to enable two-factor authentication on my my Twitch account. That's about how long I've been since I've streamed. That wasn't configured. So just gonna get just getting Twitter updated. It's posted us having technical difficulties. And okay, we're good to go. Sweet. Okay. All right. So today, hopefully you saw the event I set up. If not, I'm going to update you. But today I am going to be adding a ConvertFrom-HtmlTable commandlet to PF's Parse HTML. It's a module that, well, I'm going to butcher his name if I try to say it. Maybe I should have asked him how to say it. Here, I tell you what, I will just, oh, there it is. That's his name. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I don't want to screw it up too badly, but the idea here is that I'm going to take an HTML table and convert it to a PS object. So initially, I wanted to do this with regex because I love regular expressions. They're really difficult, which is why you should never parse HTML with regex, because you end up every time the HTML changes a little bit, you end up having to support that and update it, and you end up supporting a beast of a mess of spaghetti code of regular expressions, and that can get really messy. I'm not saying that from experience. I'm saying that from what I saw other people mention about parsing HTML with regex. So the recommended solution is instead to use a library that someone else has already written for doing so. And so I found, adjust my mic here. To give you some background, I recently moved offices, so I'm completely doing this for the first time in my new office. So new setup and everything. What I found is there's a .NET Core, and this is the old one. There's a .NET Core library for parsing HTML called HTML Agility. So I'm planning, let's see, on using this. So if you just go to their NuGet repository, and I'm just going to just download it. There you go, download package. Sweet. Okay. Just go ahead and extract it here. Oh, files. Oh. Extract it to a subfolder. There you go. Oh, and I already had it downloaded. So anyway, so I'm gonna be adding that type. I've got another screen to PowerShell, using that to parse it and converting an HTML table to a PS object. But before we get into that, since this is a Hacktoberfest related stream, I wanted to start, and you guys realized I don't have my comments pulled up, so if someone has said something, which no one has, great, cool. All right, no worries. Since this is a Hacktoberfest, I do want to run through from beginning how to do a fork, get it open in VS Code, and then ultimately, if we get there, a PR to actually test, to actually hopefully get the maintainer to implement it into their module if they like it. Don't know if they will. We'll see. He's already said it was going to be pretty cool. I asked him ahead of time to make sure I didn't put on all this work and then it wasn't accepted. So I'm starting in GitHub. So all I'm going to do is fork it, pressing the fork button. I'm going to fork it to my personal GitHub here. And it doesn't take too long, usually. And once it's forked, you now have a copy in your own GitHub. And whatever you do to this copy of it does nothing to the original repository. So you can see I've got this up here, the poshwolf/PS Parse HTML, forked from evotechit/parse HTML. So anything I do this will be on my repository, so I don't have to worry about messing his up. So what I'm going to do, whoops, is I am going to, is this the copy button? There we go. I'm going to open this in VS Code and see if I remember git clone. Yes. Oh, for anyone that isn't super familiar with VS Code, not that I am, I just use it regularly. If you do F1, it brings up the command window. I'm not sure, there's probably a name for it. I don't remember off the top of my head. Type in git, you got git clone, and then give it the URL to the repository. So you saw I copied it from GitHub. So I'm going to get that downloaded, put it in my Git directory, select repository location. Nice. And now down here at the bottom right, that you can't see because I'm in the way, maybe you can now, there's an open option, so I'm just going to click on open. Oh, and it's telling me I should update VS Code. Later. I'll do that later. Okay, cool. So now we have the code written by the maintainer of Evotech IT, and if he's on, he should tell me how to pronounce his name. He's not. Okay, so in here, he's already got several libraries. I've done a little bit of legwork ahead of time, not a lot, but a little bit. He's got some DLLs that he said may or may not parse HTML. I honestly have no idea, so we're going to just go a quick test before we jump into the coding. So I think his PSM1 actually, nice. If PS edition equals core, oh, I'm not in PS Core. Let's do that. PowerShell. We're gonna develop in PowerShell 6. I installed 7 recently, but I want to develop this in something stable. So 6.2. Oh, I got 6.2.0, 6.2.3. The VS Code actually asks you to update, but I'm going to say not now. Oh, and of course I was blocking those so you guys couldn't even see it. I'm sorry. There's a little notification in the bottom right hand corner of VS Code where I am currently covering. So we are going to, so if PS edition equals core, and it should, PS edition equals core. All right, so we're going to go and I'm just going to straight import his existing module. So now we should have, let's see, assembly equals for each import, public private for each import and assembly. So, okay, yeah, so here we go. So for each of those assemblies, they're going to be imported. So we should be able to say, angle sharp, nice, CSS. I don't know what angle sharp does. So instead of clicking or flailing around at the command line, let's see, angle sharp. Let's do a quick Google search. Angle sharp. Ultimate angle brackets. Okay, what? If someone watching knows what these DLLs do, give me a shout. .NET parse angle brackets based hypertexts like HTML, SVG, and MathML without validation. Oh. Okay, sweet. So we should be able to simple demo, title, select. We might be able to just use angle sharp. Okay, well, let's give that a try. So I didn't read up on the docs of angle sharp. I did a little bit on HTML agility. Why angle sharp, standard in. I want some examples here. Getting started. And you'll notice that this is all written in, I'd assume C#, but we're going to be doing this in PowerShell instead. Configuration.default. Create context, branding context.new. Angle sharp. Oh, there we go. .html.parser. Okay. So let's do angle sharp.html.parser. Sweet. Okay. Parser. we got browsing context, some source equals document equals context dot open. So we need to make a context browsing context. Browsing context. Okay, sweet. Sometimes it can be kind of difficult in PowerShell to find these types because you got to click around. You saw what I was doing there. So let's see, browsing context, and we should have a new. We do. Sweet. So config equals configuration.default. So now we have to actually say sharp.configuration. Okay, sweet. Okay, there is a configuration default type in there as well. Okay, angle sharp.browsing context new, and we're going to use. Actually, while I'm working on this, I'm going to take some notes and create a new ConvertFrom-HtmlTable.ps1. I'm going to create a place to actually have some notes here. So as I'm working, I can copy and paste and come back to this. New angle sharp configuration.default. Let's see what that does. Can I find an overload for count argument for new and argument count 1? And you know what? Let's check and see. Oh, now this is going to test my C# skills. What does the equal angle bracket do on that? I'm not sure. Oh, context to open async. Let's see. Context equals browsing context at new config default. Okay, so that should actually work. Browsing context new argument count 1. Okay, so let's. So PowerShell something that's kind of interesting. If we just run this by itself, it'll tell us angle sharp.iConfiguration configuration. Okay, so let's angle sharp. I love the autocomplete in VS Code dot iConfiguration. Let's see if this actually returns anything. Angle sharp iConfiguration. Okay, so that's doesn't have the properties that I expect. Okay, well let's give this configuration that type. What would we just say? Might be able to finagle our way to type angle sharp.i configuration. Okay, yeah, I did not think so. Can I find an overload for new and argument count 1? Okay, so I'm going to have to look and see new angle sharp.i configuration. Okay, I don't know why that's not working. So I'm going to see if he has examples that he's done. Otherwise, I may have to resort to using the HTML agility library, because that's something that I actually gave a shot. Format internal HTML. Oh, aha. Okay, I was doing the wrong way. So here, we're going to copy and paste some of his code. And content, I'm guessing, is the content. So what I want to do is I need to get an HTML table, first of all. And so I believe the PowerShell post on page on Wikipedia has a couple of tables in it. Or I thought it did. Oh, it does. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and I'm going to convert this to a function after I get the code all written up here. So we're going to say HTML equals folk web request URI bam HTML.content. Okay, sweet. Oh, that's a lot of content though. Let's do, I might just write up a fake table really quick to make this easy to get started. Or we can say HTML match. Let's see, table. I'm gonna see if we can actually do this the first time. All right, so match table. Okay, so there is a table in there. So that's regular expression finding the open table tag. We're gonna say anything, and then the star question mark says it to do it. Not greedy. And then we're gonna say, let's see, table. Okay, that. Okay, so this is why we're not doing this in regular expression, because I really just wanted to get a table out of there without having to. It's a close tag backward slash table. Oh, that should be it, right? Okay. I thought it would be fancy and do it that way. Let's just do HTML table. We'll grade it from W3 schools. Okay, there we go. We will use this table for our testing, not the whole page. Table equals. There we go. Okay, so we got our table in there. And we're going to say parse table. Okay, sweet. We ran it and we got no output, which is probably good. Parse document. Sweet. Okay, so we are going to use angle sharp instead of HTML agility. Okay, cool. No problem. Nothing bad there. So we want to find the table if we can. Context, browsing context is ready. No type document, no name document. You know what? Actually, I'm curious. Oh, but I've already lost the URL. Web request URI. Oh, should probably put that in quotes. I wonder what this will say if we parse that page. That was very quick. That was probably a lot quicker than anything I would have done in PowerShell. Okay, .child nodes is actually similar to, for those of you that are familiar with like the parse HTML return on invoke web request, that depends on Internet Explorer, which is why it's not in PowerShell core. That's just some background about why I'm doing this. There should be a selected, maybe a find, or we can just look at get member and see what methods. There's typically a method used to find something. It's select node in the HTML agility. And I'm not seeing a create equals, oh, get element by tag name. That's probably it. Okay. Parsed document.get element by tag name table. Sweet. Okay, so we now have our tables. Nice. So we look at the first table. There's a lot of them there. Oh, that's what? Table what? Okay, that was, I expected an array there, not okay, let's try something else here. We'll pipe this to. I'll create a blank array and say parse documents table. And for each of these, I'm going to do a plus equals. Let's see, tables plus equals. And then try tables.count. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's weird that it didn't assign it to the array the way I expected. Tables equals. Oh, sorry, sidebar here. I just got an email. Got to keep on top of some of the things I've got going on today. Okay, I'll follow up on that another time. Okay, cool. So we got our tables now. What? Oh, yeah, don't need to worry about that error, luckily. Okay, so tables. Gotta use a $sign. Okay, table 0. Okay, cool. So this is now our table. And you can see there's a lot of stuff in the table. So there's all the text content. What I'm hoping is there is a rows. Nice. Okay. Because the table is going to be, you know, like well, I shouldn't say like CSV. That's not a very fair comparison. But there's going to be a header row, and there's going to be all the content rows, right? At least that is what I'm going to assume. That's interesting. I didn't think about that until just now. What if the headers are actually, what if the table has been turned 90 degrees and the headers are actually the first column? That might be something we have to think about. We're going to assume for now that the headers are the first row. So we're going to say tables 0.rows. Well, we should probably say rows 0. Okay, so here's a row. Align left, v-align, we don't care about. There's a lot of stuff in here about the formatting that we just don't care about. So, like, for instance, the alignment. Do we care how the text is aligned? I don't, in this case. So tag name, so it's a tr. Let's see, children, inner HTML. Let's see, owner, first child. So there's children, has child nodes, true, that's good. And we can see here, like, this is the HTML of it. And for anyone that's familiar with HTML, keep in mind that I may or may not be a little bit. The tr tag is a, table row. And I believe that the td tag is actually a table cell. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone that's watching. But if my memory serves, that is what it is. Yeah, tr and then, yeah, td. Okay, cool. So we should be able to look at the children. So children is an array. So let's say table 0.row 0.children .count. Was that just one? Okay, it's just one. Children is column span, row span. Interesting. That's not what I would have expected. For anyone watching that's familiar with the, what are we using? What library is this? Angle Sharp HTML parser. You know, feel free to jump in with stuff that you may be interested or may know about, because this is all new to me. So, so child nodes. .1. Oh, you know what? We could be looking at a table that only has a single column. So we can verify that really easily by looking at the web page and finding the first table. This is probably a table. So let's that table is thoroughly throwing me off. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna try tables 1. Tables 1.row. Let's just look at tables 1. Oh, so this looks a lot better. Yeah, I can see th. What is th also a row? I think so. Maybe a header. But let's look at that .rows.count. Okay, so it's interesting. It's not returning an array. It's returning a bunch of objects, which is okay. We can deal with that. So that's what, 15 rows. Column. You know what? We can probably. Is there a columns property? That I do not know. All rows, caption. Interesting. It's got rows but not columns. Okay, so let's look at rows. Select first one. Just got a text message. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm selling a shelf on Craigslist. So someone following up about coming out to look at it. All right. So, where we're at? Rows, select first one. Okay, cool. So this row has character description. I'm guessing 2 columns based on this. And child element count 2. So that is probably a safe assumption, and we'll do some more testing here once we get all the data. So can we do? There we go. We can dot children. We're gonna look at the first child element, and we should. What I'm really trying to find here is the text content of that item, and there it is. Okay, sweet. So, so we just did what? Tables 1.rows 0.children 0. So we need to look at the table, the rows, specifically the first row, and all the children in that row. So let's say tables equal, so we've got the tables there. So that's how we find, or actually we'll just dot text content, so dot trim. So that is how we find the header of the first column, dot children. So we should be able to take this 0 out and look at, so there we go. That is how we find the headers of that first table. And I can tell you right now, this is a lot easier than it would have been if we were writing regular expressions. Just keep that in mind. As much as I enjoy writing regular expressions. Oh, sorry, apparently Fridays are busy days for me. Not sure how long that's been true, but it is today. Give me just a second. I will try to keep these jump ins to a minimum. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's how we find the table headers. Sweet. I'm just going to copy paste this up here. So this is right now, this is my notes. This is not the actual function. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. Okay, so table rows children text content dot trim. Okay, so if we looked at table 0 here, we should see that it's got no headers. That is not what I expected. Interesting. We'll have to figure out why. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I meant to actually run that. So table 2. Well, actually, here let's look at the actual web page here. So character description is the second table. Let's see, design. Character description. This is the second table. Sweet. Okay. So character description, that's a headers. We can verify that visually. And then the third one is what? PowerShell, command prompt, Unix shell description. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. So there's the next table. Nice. Okay, and I don't know. Oh, there should be another one as well. Okay, cool. But that gives us plenty of fodder for actually getting all of the tables. So let's start running this into a function. Let's do that. Function convert. I think I've got what I needed to at least get started. Convert from HTML table. And you know, one of the things I'm thinking here with the design of this commandlet is to accept just a block of text. HTML, accept a block of HTML. So we'll use the parser to validate whether or not it's really HTML. And then return all of the tables in there as objects. So I'm not going to worry that it's just a table being passed, because the parser just doesn't really care. We'll do this parse document equals get elements by tag name table. So let's do this in here. And instead of HTML, I'm going to say string content. That's going to be the HTML. Oh, crap. My computer says it wants to reboot for updates. And now my mouse is stuck. What's going on? Sorry, my mouse is stuck in one of my other monitors for some reason. Okay, what the heck is going on? Okay, had a little hair stuck in my mouse. Just snooze that. Okay. Okay, so we've got the content. So then I'm going to say headers equals No. We need to get all the tables out of there. So we're going to say, let's put some comments in here so we know what we're doing. Initialize the parser. Load the HTML. Get all the tables. Nice. Okay, sweet. And then for each table, and these comments are here for me as much as they are for someone else that reads them, because you know, I can look at something else for 5 seconds and come back to this and forget what I was doing. Okay, so for each table, and the goal of this for each loop is to return a complete PS object for each table. Okay, so we're going to say headers equal, and what do we have here? We had, let's see, I was going to copy that and then update it. So we want tables, table.rows, 0.showOnTextContent.trim. So one thing you will notice here is I'm not doing any validation. I'm assuming that table has a first row. We're going to come back to that. Okay, so we have headers. And so, sorry, I'm thinking through how to build this object with dynamic properties. And we're going to use we're going to first try this doing a for loop, because we know that the index in the row is going to have, each row is going to have a certain number of columns, right? And so the index of the column should match the index of the header. And we can use the add member commandment from PowerShell v2 days. Ooh. Okay, so for x equals 0. And we'll use a for loop because we need to know that index number. So for x equals 0, while x is less than headers.count, x++. And so you also notice something else. I'm also assuming that the headers will not only have value, but they will be the same number of headers as there are the number of columns. That might be a problem. We'll do some testing on some tables. But what I want to do is to first get this working and then come back and add to it. Okay, so one thing you notice here is this is only going to run the for loop once. We want to say for each row in table.rows. I'm pretty sure there's a rows there. So we should now be able to say, first we need to substantiate an object. So we've got our headers. So we're going to say object equals, we're just going to say a new PS object. Custom object. And notice we're not giving it any properties yet, because for each of these we're going to say object add member type note property name is going to be, this is where that headers x comes into play. And sorry, actually I switched there. And the value is going to be, for each row and table rows, it's going to be row dot. I'm going to have to go back here. So let's see. We're going to go to tables 1 dot rows 0. I'm going to look at a rows object so I get an idea of which properties we need to look at. All right. Sorry, just keeping track of. I've had people tweet at me when I'm on my stream, and I'll make sure in case that happens I've got it. Okay, so for each of these rows. Oh. So what I noticed here is that there's a cells property. So that'll give each cell. So instead of using the text content, we should be using the cells to get at the properties of each cell, because the text content might have complicated string data in it, and we don't want to have to worry about that. Okay. But we're going to use that for just right now. So value row dot, I think it's got a text content. I'm gonna call this v1 for this commandlet. Oh, not 0, sorry, x. And let's see. And as soon as we get this working with the text content, which it may or may not actually work, I envision that it's not going to work as well as I might have hoped from the beginning. But as soon as we get this to work, we'll come back and we'll add the cells to it. But I just realized we need to create a output object, which is going to be array, and it's going to be an array of these objects. Okay, so we're creating an object for those. Okay, so we need to go output plus equals object. Okay, and then we need to actually output the output. All right. So now let's see what kind of errors we get when we run it. Function convert from HTML table, convert from HTML table. Oh, do I have content HTML? Okay, we got a lot of errors, which is both good and bad. Well, it's probably good that we got errors. Character description. Yeah. Okay. So as I expected, cannot bind a parameter name because it is null. Okay. I'm guessing based on this character description issue right here, and I think we saw earlier that table 0, the headers on table 0s were non-existent based on the text content. That we need to actually, we do need to use that cells property that I saw. What am I looking at again? Tables row 0.children. We're looking at children. Okay, so this should be, I'm using the text content and it's not even here. Okay, and there's not even cells. Oh, well, there is a headers. Okay, interesting. So there is a headers property on this that the parser returns. So I'm interested if maybe each row actually tells you what the headers are. Index, headers. So it's there, it says it's an array. No, it does not. Okay. Nah, oh well. So children, we're going to look at one child here and take a look at the cells. Am I looking at a row dot children? I want to look at a row. Just a single row, because I want to see if that cells. It does. Okay. Okay, cells. Just look at the one cell. Dot text content. Okay, so that's nice. So we can actually look and see what the text content is on the first run. So remember that first table I couldn't really figure out. Let's see what that cell looks like. Oh. Huh. All right. So the first table is partial quarter class image all equals has an image. Sorry, I'm trying to parse this HTML with my eyeballs. Bad idea. The first table has an image. So what is the first table? Oh, this is the first table. And the header of the table is actually outside of it. Interesting. So good thing this page gives us a lot of different different tables here to play around with. So it's interesting. So there isn't text content with that table. Okay, again, that's a little more complicated than I want to deal with before we get this working. So we got cells 0 dot text content. Okay. So table, we only saw output from one table when we ran it, our first test version of this function. So here's the second table. So we got text content there. We got inner HTML. oh, I'm only looking at the first cell. Like, oh, where are all the cells? It's only the first one. So if we go cells.text content and run that. Okay, and then I think we can trim on a string array. Let's find out. We can. Okay, sweet. Okay, so we're going to make the assumption that each of them has a text content, because at this point that's going to be a little too complicated. I want this to work before we go back and manage all the edge cases. So I wonder if the children and the cells are the same thing. Maybe, maybe not. So this is what I'm thinking here, is if it has children that aren't cells, they probably also are in the children. So we're going to switch that to cells. Okay, so row.textContent.trim row. Okay, so let's look at a row. And we are looking at a row. Okay. Oh, okay, so I think this is the issue here. So table.rows, but the rows has cells, so headers.count, so that's a number of cells. Row. Okay, so here's the issue. So we want to go row.cells index of x dot text content dot trim. Okay, I think this will work a little better. Maybe not. If you see something I missed, let me know. All right, I'm actually going to type out the command right here. ConvertFrom-HtmlTable. Oh, got Parsing installed. There we go. Thank you. Excuse me. Content HTML. Oh, got a whole bunch of errors again. Okay, so we're going to have to do some actual debugging here. Character description. That's actually not bad. So it worked on our second table because we got character description, but it lists all files and folders. What is that? I think that's from the next table. So this is the first table. We got character description. Stop parsing. Okay, sweet. That's what we wanted. And then the third table also had a description field, and so that's why it only output that there. Interesting. Since we're out, so I think here this is the PowerShell engine trying to keep everything in a way it does a format table, since it's got the same properties. It puts it in the same place. But I also notice here you got character description of the headers, and then character description as the first item. So we're going to say where x equals 1 there. That should fix that. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to put this in a variable and look at, oh, got 155 objects. I wasn't expecting so many tables. Okay. Did I ever look at tables.count? I thought I did. There's 15, not 155. So this for each should only be running 15 times. Should. For each tables and tables. For each row and rows. So I'm only outputting once. I wonder if there's a total of 155 rows in all of the tables. So how do we output this as its own own array? I think the common notation will fix that. Let's find out. That's not what I expected. But the question is, what did I expect? And I don't have an answer for that. Okay, so we got 15 this time, which is better. But we also, I think I also screwed up. Yeah, okay, so I screwed up because this should be 4x equals 0. Maybe you caught that earlier. And it should be for each row and rows, but skipping the first one. I think select object has a skip, does it? Skip Did I see a skip first? Skip index 0. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's actually what we want to do there. So I'm going to go ahead and run that again. There, we got a lot more errors this time. And we still got that same output. I'm not so worried about the output as I am the, well, at this point, as it outputting, there you go. 15 distinct arrays, 1 for each table, which is what we got that time. So we should be able to say temp 0, which is nothing. Okay, that's interesting. Let's figure out why temp 1. That is perfect. That is what I'm trying to do with this table, right? So at least we're successful with a well-formed table. Sorry, I don't usually talk this much. Not that I'm complaining. Well, no one's talking back, so oh well. But let's look at table 2. Okay, that's so. Okay, so it looks like for I'm using the term well-formed. The tables that are formatted the way we expect, this is working. So the first table, or the second table, sorry, the third table. Remember, this is the, if you just tuned in, this is the third table right here. We actually get an object, so get children, and this is what we expect it to be. But then I'm not sure what table 4. Whoa, would you look at that? Okay. We're doing good. Wow, okay. That's... Can you hear me streaming? Am I coming through? Sorry, I just had someone comment and it showed up on my face. Nice. I wonder if it's not showing up or something. I'll give it a second. Okay. For you, those of you watching, if I'm not actually coming through, I guess you wouldn't be able to. I'm not seeing any video or hearing any audio. Okay. Interesting. Let's see if this is working for me. So I've got it pulled up on my screen. It is working for me. Are you... okay, well, I guess I should be chatting with you instead of talking into the stream. And if someone else is watching, if they could confirm whether or not they're getting video and audio, that would be great. Via Twitch, okay. That is strange. Sorry, I'm typing what I'm saying too, just in case. Oh, you do, oh, now you do. Okay, okay, sweet. How's it going? What did you do? What did you do to fix it? Anything? Well, hopefully you can hear me. I'll type it too. I'm just curious in case someone ever comes up to me. Could have been an issue on mine. Okay. Okay. Cool. We won't worry about it then. Thank you. Okay. So back to what I was doing here. So we've got our tables. It's working for well-formed tables. So temp 3. So I'm looking at, let's see, index of 4. So the 5th table, which is nothing. 5. Okay, I wonder what that looks like on the web page. I'm going to bring that up. Oh, did we get this table? Application version command list provider management GUI. Did I? Yes, we did. Okay, sweet. Oh, and then the rest of the tables are down here. Switch from Wi-Fi to cellular. Oh, okay. Sweet. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. I'll remember to ask folks if they're having issues about their connection too. So it looks like the rest of these tables on here are actually. I wonder if this must be an actual table in HTML. Okay, yeah, management tools, apps, shell services, file services. Management tools, apps, shell services. Oh, you know what? So, and this speaks to my lack of knowledge in HTML, or maybe not lack of knowledge, but entry level knowledge of it. But I'm guessing that these tables. So this is what, index of 5. So we look at tables, index of 5. Oh, I said 5, type 6. With the actual $sign in front of it. So I'm guessing that this table has a single row for the header and then multiple rows. So it's got a single header row, and then it's got column. It's got a single header column, and then all of the rows underneath it are all more than one column. So interesting. So let's look at 6. Now that is weird. Games, apps, others, what? Oh, this is Windows command line programs, shells built in. Command language, interesting. Oh, so it's another table inside of that table. So you can see how complicated this actually gets. Okay, and then there's another one with the header of v, list of DOS commands. What? Okay, so and these are probably tables inside tables. Okay, so we can either write code to test to see if it's a table inside of a table, but that sounds kind of difficult and maybe not necessarily the best idea. Bleh. So instead, let's see if we can figure out how to test to see if it's got multiple, if it's table with a single column header, multiple columns in the table. Because what I want to do is I want to be able to detect that and then not convert that to an object, because obviously it's not a format that we can deal with. And I would assume that someone that's converting that table to a PowerShell object, or someone isn't going to want to convert that kind of table to a PowerShell object. So we're not going to support that because I don't know how. Okay. For each row in table.rows, let's see. So headers, cells.count. Okay, so each row in table of rows, headers.count. So we want to say if row.cells.count is greater than headers.count, or maybe not even greater than, maybe if it's not equal to. Yeah, because we would have an empty cell if there isn't a cell, so there should still be a cell. Okay, so if row.cells.count does not equal headers.count, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a table, give that a tag, and use the continue table. So what that'll do is it will break out of this for each loop, not roop, and it will go to the next item in this for each loop. And we'll even throw a write verbose, because I don't want to write error, don't want to write host, so write verbose, unsupported table. Okay, so let's see if that cleans up our output a little bit. Let's say verbose as well. Oh, we got a bunch of unsupported tables. Okay, sweet. row.cell.count. Okay, cool. But we still got a bunch of these other errors that we're going to have to dig into a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at temp. Oop, sorry, since they're, okay, that's, oh. Okay, we did not get the tables that we got before. So something is not the way that I expected. So let's make sure that logic makes sense. If row.cells.count does not equal headers.count. Oh, you know what? If I remember correctly, so we go tables 1.rows. If I remember correctly, this did not return the way I expected, and it does not. Okay, so that is the problem. We are not getting the data that we expect we should. So let's say, how do we get around that? Tables. We do an, well, actually, does it have a row count? We could just pipe it to, oh, child element count. Or wait, a table. No, we don't care about rows. We actually care about rows dot cells. Sorry, I'm doing the, okay, so there's a lot of there. Okay. Oh, it does work. Okay, so am I saying row.cells.count is not equal headers.count? Okay, so we're gonna get some, I'm gonna, whoa, no, I wanted to do F9. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna try this again. But this time, we're gonna use a debugger. Oh, I think it only works on an actual file. Okay, sorry. Okay, there you go. Okay, cool. So we got an unsupported table. So now row.cells. Null character. Okay, so this is not what I expect. So there are cells. What are the headers? There's 2 headers. So headers.count 2. Row.cells.count. Oh, so it is, and I don't know how to explain this because I don't fully understand it, but it's returning single items, but not as an array. So I think what we can do is we can say, use the array notation in PowerShell, row.cells.count. Okay, so that's what we're going to have to do. Interesting that it would do that. Okay, and we're just going to remove that breakpoint and just continue. Okay, cool. So we're going to try that again. Okay, and this time we should, yes. Okay, I was hoping we'd get rid of a lot of those errors, and it looks like we did at least get rid of most of them, all but one. So now we should have less than 15 tables, in this case 8. That looks great. That looks great. That looks great. That's empty. Okay. Well, that one's formatted the way we expect. Sorry, someone's texting me. All I need to do really quick is, oh, I told a friend of mine to tune in. Doesn't know that I'm still live. I'll text him back. It's still live. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got that table. So we're still getting an empty table, and we're getting some funny looking tables. But honestly, the table looking funny, like that's not of my concern, because we just want to convert the data. We don't care what the data is. So even though it looks funny, like applications Atom, this is the last. Let's close this. Oh, so this is one of the, I believe this is one of these little tables in here. Ah, here we go. So this is what it thinks is a table. Interesting. I wonder what that table actually looks like. Whoops, that was F11. I had to hit F12. Can you click on a web page and have it tell you what HTML that is? Apparently not. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick. If someone is here some more familiar with using these dev tools than I am, feel free to give me some assistance here. Okay. Nice. Table. Okay, so here's that first table. Table body. I like how it highlights. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so here's... Okay, so here's... Is this the table? Okay, so this is the table. So this is the first row. Navbox style. Okay, so we've got application is the name. It's got the class. But interesting, this row only has one cell, right? But it's one cell that's got... Oh, no. TH and... Oh, so here's the difference between the TH and the TD tags. Pop quiz, what is the difference? I'm not sure, actually. But it sees them both as cells, which is why that's not parsing the way that I expected. But it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually a little easier than... well, easier to get the basics, but more complicated than I expected. But what is that output? Okay, let's look at temp7.psObject.properties.name. Okay, that's not what I expected. I was expecting it to name of the properties on that object. But we have an array of unlike objects, which is probably a little confusing for or obviously it's a little confusing for PowerShell. But I personally don't know how to make that format a little better. So what I was hoping is we could just get an output where it just outputted all of the objects regardless. So the next thing we need to do, at least before I feel comfortable calling this a function, is to actually, if headers are null, right? If null does not equal headers, then we'll do the rest of this. So I'm going to indent this and not do that if headers are null, because you notice some of this output is just nothing. So actually we need to run the whole page again. We still got that error. Okay, I wonder where that error is coming from. Add member headers of X. But we're looking at headers.count 0. I don't know why that's happening. Cannot bind a name because it is null. Oh, so one of the headers is null. Gotcha. Still getting 8 tables, so that did not solve that error the way I expected. Okay, so headers. So how do we test that all the headers are not null? Oh, we can say, just pipe it to a where object, where null does not equal. Okay, cool. That should solve that. Okay, we still got the error. And we think we probably still got the same number of tables, which is 8. Yes. Okay, so let's actually debug this. We're gonna skip that one. Okay, so there we got the error. Okay, it was the first one that we get the error on. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop the debugger, and we're gonna try that again. Okay, so we're about to get the error. So let's look at headers, which is null. So we expected it not to be null, but it still is null. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Okay. Where null does not equal. But it is still null. Well, then let's take a look at that again. Oh, sorry, I meant to F8, not F9. Or F5, actually. Sorry, I'm confusing myself here. Okay, so headers is null, but we can look at headers 0, which is nothing. Why is that? Can we say null equals headers 0? True. Okay, did I miss something really simple here? So headers equals tables.row.cells. Well, actually, we can run this actually and see what that returns. So it returns something where, because that returns nothing. Am I being too complicated by saying null? Null does not equal $_. What? So, okay, well, let's say, so it's passing an object probably of some type that doesn't have value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that to just where $_. And we are going to try that. I'm going to guess that it's not going to error. And it didn't. Nice. Temp count. So now we're still getting 8 tables. I did not expect that. Temp 0. Oh, well, that one has value. Okay. Cool. And I'm stepping through these one at a time because if I just do temp, the output's all screwed up because there's the unlike objects. So we look at temp 2, that's something. 3 is nothing. Why? Okay, so why is, okay, so we're gonna do this a little debugging again. So the first one, output is not null. Okay, or a step. Okay, the next one, output is not null. Okay, step. Next one, output is not null. Okay, step. Next one is null. Okay, so why is that null? Okay, so headers, Wikiversity has learning resources about PowerShell. So it has a header. So how many table.rows? So there is a row, but why? Oh, okay, so it's a table that is just a header. So headers is not null, but there are no other rows. Okay. So we need to test and see if output. Okay. Okay. What we'll do is we'll say if output.count is greater than or equal to 1. Output.count greater than or equal to 1. If I remember correctly, that doesn't always work in older versions of PowerShell because it doesn't have a count if there's not more than 1. Here, I'm doing a test in 5.1. Okay, so it does in at least 5.1. I don't have older versions to test, so we'll leave it at that for now. And if you test this in older version of PowerShell and that doesn't work, open an issue. We'll take a look at it. Okay, so now we should end up with unsupported table. Temp count is 7. Okay, so that's good. So temp was it the 5th? Okay, so these all are. Oh, that's all. Sweet. Okay, cool. And we did it using that that library instead of regular expressions, which was what I was first planning on. I definitely would not have been anywhere near done at this point. Okay, so let me get a drink of water. Okay, so here's the cool part. Is we are going to, well, first, re-import the module. Now we have to make sure this actually works with the module. Well, I would like to see the output a little better, to be honest. Because here, let me show you. Well, you saw why. Because if you look at a table like this, and you're like, oh, well, it doesn't work right. At least that's what I would think by looking at this output. I probably should add some more verbosity here, but I'm going to add a verbose here. Table has no data, has no rows. So anybody listening ever formatted an array of unlike objects? Yeah, me either. PowerShell array. You can see I was looking at parsing HTML of unlike. Everything you need about arrays. Of course, Kevin's got it. I post on that. I'm not even sure what to Google here. Let's see, comparing objects, removing objects, return several items for a PowerShell function. Return an array. How can I create an array? That returns several items of unlike, let's say, different. Return several items. An array. Well, maybe. Let's just try a couple of things. Let's, instead of using this funky. No, that doesn't change it at all. In fact, that makes it no different. Can we say how default? Does that make any difference? I'm just guessing at this point. No. Yeah, this one's got me stumped. I'm gonna have to spend some time. How file default? Yeah, I don't really want to mess with changing the output. Well, what if? Let's. I got a theory here. What if we just put it in the begin? Well, let's make this an advanced function here. Begin. Process. I just want to see if this has this might do absolutely nothing. In fact, that's what I think it might do. And hey, haha, that did it. Okay, but it ended up put a lot of blank space. No, it did not do it. Okay, I thought it did do it. Or did it do it? Okay, well, let's clear the screen. Oh, it doesn't actually clear the screen. Let's try that again. I'm gonna be at the point where it outputs a lot of blank, and it's not actually. Okay, so that didn't change anything. I must have been looking at output from. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was hopeful, but not fruitful. Anyone watching have an idea? Well, this has got output that looks like it. Okay, so it did it once. Why didn't it do it again? Okay, let's try it. I'm going to try it outside of the integrated terminal. Oh, this is PowerShell 7. That's right, because I got that installed. Okay. Let's see what it does. Oh, yeah, about that. Let's add the type in. What's this called? PS parse HTML. Add assembly. Or is it add type? It must be add type. Yeah, path dot slash. I don't remember what the path is off the top of my head. Dot slash lib slash core. Lib slash core slash, what do I call it? Angle sharp. There you go. Okay, so now we should be able to say, no, okay, that didn't, okay. Okay, well, I don't have a good answer to making that output better. Unless we convert from HTML unless we wanted to make this two different commandlets. And what I mean by that is we want it to make a commandlet that is the convert from HTML table as a commandlet that takes that table object from another commandlet. So have the parent function that parses the HTML, passes the object to convert to an object, and then it outputs. But I'm not sure that would output any differently as either. Output equals at, and we're adding custom objects. I wonder if I say, if I completely remove it, or if that'll make any difference. No. Okay, well that's a problem that I'll have to figure out another time, but I'm kind of curious to figure it out now. Okay, well now we're getting, oh yeah, now we're getting something really screwy, because we want this to be its own array. Okay. We do need that notation in there. This at and the open and close parentheses. Okay, so that's the table. Okay, but if we still output tab, of course it looks funny. Okay, then that's because it's outputting an array of unlike objects, is what I'm going to call that, or different objects. Okay, it doesn't matter to remove it. Okay, so let's actually do some. I'm gonna leave those comments there for right now. PS parse HTML. Okay, cool. It's the import module. So I want to make sure it's actually going to work with the convert HTML to text import module dot slash PS parse HTML. Oh. Let's take that out of there. Otherwise, it's actually going to do that. Okay. Remove module PS parse. Okay, and we're going to say import. Okay, cool. So now we should be able to pass. Well, let's use our. Let's use our. So we got that test table from the W3 schools. Let's see. Convert from HTML table content. What did I call that? Table. First name, last name, age. That is beautiful. So let's. I'll have to do some testing on the specific table that I was writing this to support. It's internal data, so I for the contract I'm on, so I can't actually do that live. But I will do some testing on that and see if that works. But in the meantime, let's find another table. You know what we could do is just take this URL and regex URI. What? Oh, it doesn't like the buffer. Okay, okay, fine. We will. I was going to change the prompt, but we'll skip that. So let's see, HTML equals invoke web request URI dot content. Okay, cool. So then we're going to say convert from HTML table content HTML. So we didn't find any. I don't know if that's true or not, to be honest. So we can say if it's got match table false. Okay, so apparently there's no tables on that page. All right. Which is totally fine because we got plenty of web pages here. So that's Stack Overflow. Maybe Spiceworks uses tables. I don't know. If you're watching, you got a quick web page that has a table on it. We could try. I'm guessing these aren't tables. Maybe Reddit's got tables on them. Or maybe this guy's blog. Maybe not. Let's find out. So I'm just gonna do this invoke web request to get the HTML. You may or may not be able to see that. It doesn't look like I'm blocking it. No, there's no tables. All right. Well, that's lame. Okay, maybe I believe my blog has, I think this is a table. So let's find out. Oh, it had a different table in Markdown. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay. Sweet. But you know what? Remember, let's actually look at the table. Yeah, here's the table. So I copied this from here. Oh, Microsoft Docs. Of course, they probably have tables. I have at least one. Let's find out if there are more. See, this is pretty sweet, actually. I didn't expect it to work so quickly. And I guarantee that if I had tried to write something in regular expressions, it would not have been quite like that. So what we need to do is say, so there are two tables. That's the second table. Type of monitoring required. Let's see what that table actually looks like. Oh, when you see this is a table with okay, so it did get you notice in this output it actually truncates. So type of monitoring, I thought it was only getting one of the headers, but it actually is getting both, piped it to format list, and we get type of monitoring and recommendation. Sweet. That's what I was hoping for. And you know that's really all I had planned for today. Oh, I'm lying. I unintentionally. I also wanted to submit a PR. So let's actually convert from HTML Let's for anyone that has never done a PR, let's do it. Well, even if you have done a PR, let's do it anyway, right? Okay, so we've got a table for each table. Get the headers. If headers have value. Oh, that's pretty self-explanatory. If there are as many cells aren't. Let's get this table. I'm putting comments in here because I always try to comment my own code. I'm a lot worse at my own code than when I comment something to PR into someone else's repository. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. Just quickly before I get it in there. Add all the properties, one per row. New rows, output. Sweet, and then we'll get rid of that. Okay, so, and we'll even do some best practice stuff. Mandatory equals true, and yeah, actually that's what we'll leave that at. If we load that in our session, convert from HTML table. Nice. Okay, content HTML. Bam. So the output is really still screwy. But I don't know what to do about that at this point in time. Let's see. So he doesn't have help as examples. Oh. Okay. Sweet. So he's got some examples here. So I'm gonna write an example. So that's one thing that I always try to do when contributing to someone else's repositories. I try to do it the way that they do it. So you can see he's got examples. So let's say example dash convert from HTML-table.ps1. Sweet. Okay. HTML content formatted. Okay, so you just got really simple examples here. HTML equals get or invoke web request URI. So I'm gonna use the PowerShell Wikipedia entry as my example here. Convert from HTML table, content HTML. Okay. Oh, actually, let's do this for each. I'm curious to see if we do these output one by one, if this actually outputs it nicely. No, it doesn't. So anyone that's just jumped on, I see the viewer count just jumped up. If you know a way to output an array of different objects so that it doesn't, so that all the properties show. So for instance here, the first object in here is character description as the properties, and then the next object has description, but it's got other properties in there as well. So if I look at, so the first one you see character description. But if I look at one, it's got description as well as several other properties. If you know a way to output those so that they are not not all. So here's what it looks like. I hope. Oh yeah, I'm not blocking that. So I'm just gonna put a little note in here. If converting, is there two T's in converting? I don't know. I forget. Multiple tables. The output will look funky. Since it's creating an array of different objects. You know, I wonder if we can. Here, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll see if Twitter can help us out. I think there's a PS tweet chat going on right now. Is that right? Oh, I think it might be over actually. What time is it? 11:30. I think PS tweet chat ends at, yeah, half an hour ago. Okay. An array of arrays. Each array with different properties. How can I get it to output each array? I wonder if the easy is just to say, oh yeah, it is actually. Just do an FL. Okay, but that looks funky. That does for some of them, not for others. Okay, well, actually, you know what? Let's skip this for now. Let's get this PR in, and then we'll call it a stream. Temp 0, temp 1, etc. Okay, nice. Okay, so what's a good commit message here? Add convert from HTML table with examples. Should have said with examples. Oh well. Okay, so I'm gonna push this up to my master branch. And the last thing before we submit a PR is to see if Evotech IT's repo, and if it has a contributing, it does not, to install and to update their priorities. Okay, so he doesn't have directions on how to contribute to his repository, which is totally fine. Typically, sometimes there'll be a contributor.md that will tell you if when you submit your PR if you should do it to the master branch or not, or what branch to do it to. So let's new pull request branch master. Okay, so if we select that new pull request button, base master compare. Okay, go compare across forks. Here we go. That's what I wanted. I believe if I just go to, let's try this a different approach. I believe if I'm sitting here, so I'm in my forked repository that I have updated. We have this option. This branch is even with Evotech IT Master. No, it should not be even. Did we pushed two contributors? Ah, there we go. Had to do a refresh after the push went through. So you can see we've got branches 1 committed head, which is, we've only done 1 commit. So now we should do a pull request. And there we go. So it says able to merge. That means that there's no conflicts that need to be reviewed. You can see we have a list of our commits, and it has a 2 changed files, so it's going to give us all that code that we added in, which is great. And so if you haven't done a pull request before, simply hitting the create pull request button, which is what I'm going to do, does not make any changes to the what's the technical term? The target repository, so the source repository where it originally came from. Had to convert from HTMLTable as well as an example. This is using, what was the library we used? It was a built-in one. Or I shouldn't say built-in, it was one that was already included. Angle Sharp. Angle Sharp. Angle Share. Angle Sharp library, which was already included in the module. Cool. Yeah, I asked him if I could throw in another library. He says, well, I think one of the ones in there already do. So I'm glad I checked because he was right. So allow edit for maintainers. I usually leave that checked. I have no reason to think he shouldn't edit it. That's one example. This is using nice. Okay, cool. So then he will get I think it sends out a notification, let him know there's a PR, or at least if he comes in here and checks. So what I'm going to do is every time I do submit a PR, I do typically, let's see, I think he's Evo, I think his Twitter is Evotech IT. Oh, I thought I was following him too. I think I saw a link in here for his Twitter. Oh, he uses his name, and I'm sure he might watch this, and yeah, I'm not gonna try saying his name. Okay. Here, let's send him a message. Okay, cool. Just submitted that PR. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right. So that's a wrap for today. So hopefully this has been useful for somebody at some point. I will have this up on my YouTube channel, so if you're watching it there, don't forget to click subscribe. As well as, you can check me out on Twitter too. I'm on Twitter, the Posh Wolf. So yeah, hour and a half instead of 2.5 hours, because it ended up being a lot easier than I expected. So you guys, everyone who's stuck around, have a great weekend. I'm about to start my weekend. I'm actually going to go test this function in. I got to log into the environment I'm accessing for my contract. I'm going to test it on what I want it to work on, and see if it actually works. So that'll be the real test, if it works where I need it. And if it doesn't, then when I'll come back, what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll submit an issue and fix it and make it work. So yeah, hey, you're welcome, absolutely, and thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful. I was gonna say, so it's still morning for me. So if it's morning for you, have a wonderful morning. If it's an afternoon, have a wonderful afternoon. If it's night, have a wonderful night. If it's something else, have a wonderful something else. So yeah, have a good one, guys and gals, and anyone else that's watching.